Now, if you were asked to describe why your favorite film is your favorite film, you'd probably leave a lot of things out. So on the surface, I'm sure there's a lot of things you could say, but there's also a lot of tiny micro decisions that you probably don't realize. And as a watcher, you can ignore those decisions. But if you're looking to create your own film, those are the decisions that you're gonna have to make that are gonna contribute to someone placing you as one of their favorites. And the key to those micro decisions is, you guessed it, the mood board. Why do you need a mood board? Well, when planning the film, you've got your script and you've got your shot list, but I think the mood board is just as important. Once you get past the basics of the story, it gets hard to describe your vision to others with just words. A lot of times what makes a film special is a little bit intangible. Some of my favorite films don't have that original of a storyline, but it's the mood, it's the feeling of the film that makes it stand out from everything else. So the mood board is there to help you conceptualize your idea so that you can give yourself and others clarity. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is look up the music. So a lot of people think that the first place to go for the mood board is Google Images or Instagram. But to me, the first place to go is Spotify or Apple Music. Now, if you're doing a mood board for photography or for graphic design or something like that, the music might not be as important of a step. But for film, it's a crucial step. Starting with the music will give you a feel for what the pacing of your film is gonna be, and even some of the emotional cues that you kind of wanna add in there. Music is a great signifier for emotion, and it can describe and give you a feeling for the emotions that you want to describe but can't really put into words. Now, you don't have to pick the final song that's gonna go into your film for this stage. For me, it's just about picking a couple of songs that get the mood for it. And I can come back later and change it later on and find something that's not copyrighted or without so many lyrics to use in the actual film. This stage is just about getting a concept of the type of music, the type of emotion you want for your film. Remember that the mood board is all about concept and being able to describe to yourself and others what it is you're going for. So that's the goal here. It's not to find the perfect song. So after you have an idea for the music, it's time to go straight to the color. Finding your color palette is going to help you with your wardrobe and your locations and generally just what you're going for with the shoot. It's a very important step that lets you know where you should go and what to look for when you're shooting. Now, a color palette can be original and you can choose random colors, but there are colors that go together and that don't. So my recommendation is to actually look for actual color palettes, whether it be on different color websites or straight from some of your favorite movies that already have color palettes for them. These are great places to look and it'll give you an idea, and you can mix and match them a little bit if you want to go for something a little bit different, but I think it's helpful to choose something that already works. Under the color palette section, I also like to include a little bit about wardrobe as well. I don't usually have the luxury of being able to create my own wardrobe or even buy extremely expensive clothes for my films. So what I like to do is just choose the colors for the wardrobe that I want. Keep it more basic, choose the colors and a general design that I'm going for. This lets the people I'm shooting with know what I expect them to wear and what colors I expect them to be associated with. So now that you've got the music and the color palette, the next step is to find out where you're going. Let's get the locations out of the way. Location is one of the most important parts of the shooting process because you have to know where to go, and it is probably the #1 thing that slows down filming. Filming is a very long process, and if you don't know where you're going and exactly the type of shots you want to get at that location, you're gonna waste so much time, you're gonna lose sunlight, and you might even get kicked out. So in this section, you can choose a mixture of creative locations and real locations. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that You can choose locations like, for instance, I've seen things from Lord of the Rings and I'm like, I want to replicate something that's from Lord of the Rings. I want a shot that looks like it was shot in the forest, but I know I'm not going to be able to get that forest. So I'll include that forest, and then I'll put a real location that is actually close to where I am, that I can actually get a shot similar to that. You want to look for locations that are close to you, that are not going to be so much trouble for you to get to, that you can actually get the type of content that you're trying to get. So many times I've made the mistake where I'll pick a location randomly off of Pinterest or Instagram, and then I'll be like, I'm gonna get this shot, it's amazing, and I'll find out that I would have to fly all the way to London to actually get that shot. But then on the flip side, which is why I like to include both of these, when you choose a creative location, like for instance the desert, I don't live anywhere near a desert, but I do live near beaches, and there are ways where you can manipulate it to where a beach can kind of look like a desert if you do it the right way. So you want a mixture of these creative locations and real locations that you can go to, and a plan for how you can make them look the way you want them to look. A location can end up being so many different things. I've used the same house for multiple different shoots, and people have never been able to tell that it was the same house. So you can switch things up a lot, but you just have to have a plan, and that's where this part comes in. And finally, we got to the part that you probably thought was gonna come first, the images. Now, the reason I like to save this for last is because I feel like once you get everything else out of the way, it narrows it down a lot more so that the images you're choosing aren't so wide, but they're more based in what you can really shoot in the locations. But I also find that the first thing you want to do when choosing your images is go straight to social media. Social media can be a great source of inspiration, but it can also be a bit of an echo chamber. And you're gonna find a lot of images that are similar, and you'll be attracted to all of the popular ones that have been done by people with equipment and locations that are probably far better than yours. But if you go a little bit further and find different areas of inspiration, it can be much more creative and you'll find much better ideas. Inspiration comes in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes you can be inspired to get a certain type of cinematography based on a fictional book that you read with no pictures in it at all. So don't be afraid to think outside of the box in this section, and don't be afraid to branch out from social media to find different areas where you can get inspiration. The mood board is kind of like your brain put onto paper, but sometimes there are certain things that you just can't put onto paper, and that's okay. You don't need to have the perfect mood board. It's just there to provide direction, like a compass. So don't be discouraged if you can't find the perfect image to go in this spot, or if you have an idea that just you can't find anywhere else. It's not a discouraging feeling. It just means that you're doing something that's innovative and that's new, and you're gonna be the first to do it. So never be afraid of that. It's okay, and embrace it. It just means that you're an innovator. I absolutely love making mood boards. I think it's one of the most fun parts of planning your film, and it's the part where you can use your imagination the most, and you get to put all of these images, colors, everything together, and you can really see the film before you make it. And I really love that about making a mood board. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it added a lot of value to you guys, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.